Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 40 Runs podcast. I say welcome back, but they've been coming out while we've been away. But it's like, I feel it feels like the first day of term, Hayden, to be honest with you.
It does for the tech, I know that for sure.
Anybody who's tuned in, we ain't got a clue what we're doing. I played the outro before I played the intro. Hayden was checking whether he had his stuff. So honestly, we don't know what we're doing because we've had a couple of weeks off because we've been larging it abroad. We don't really know what we're doing. But anyway, welcome back, bruv. It's good to be back.
Good to be back.
Oh, I like your blinds. Did you get some of
Let's move on.
Move on. No story for another day. Right. So today, because we've been away, one of the things that happened while we was away was the European Championships. And I might have gone mad, but was there also the Commonwealth Games at some point?
Yeah, it's about 3 weeks before, wasn't it? 3 or 4 weeks before. It's quite close.
We'll come on to that. And one of the things that sort of, while I was watching it while I was in Mallorca, that really struck me, and then I sort of found out that other people, it struck them as well, was that there was nobody there. And that actually made me think a little bit deeper into it. And it's more that running's like at its peak. It's at its most popular, like ever. Okay. I wrote this down, by the way. Oh, I not wrote this down. I saw this today. Funnily enough, again, people are still talking about this. So running, yeah, according to this dude, whether it's right or wrong, 500,000 people in 1 year have taken up running on top of what's normal. Yeah, 500,000 people. And it's around 7.1 million people apparently are runners. I don't know where they get these numbers from.
I was going to say that. Where do you actually pick these numbers up from?
Run clubs are up 3.5 times on Strava, new run clubs. So not like affiliated clubs or anything like that, but creation of run clubs. Yeah. I don't know where this data is coming from, so I take it with a pinch of salt. But the point is, what was it, like 1.1 million people apply for the London Marathon. Running part run participation, astronomical. So I think we're all agreed that running is either at its peak or becoming its peak, right? And it probably will peak with London Marathon. I don't think there's any disagreement there. But what it made me think of was actually, what the hell's going on with athletics? Because when you look at athletics, yeah, now put the performances, we'll come on to that in a second, to my side. I'm talking about grassroots and things like that. I did a little bit of digging, but it was really hard to sort of find out a hell of a lot of information because it's really skewed. Because England Athletics, they don't include, they look at like an affiliated club as an affiliated club. They don't look at it as like like this is a social run club. This is blah, 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 blah. So the actual track and field section of it is very hard to get in terms of information. What I did say, basically, long story short, I'm going around the house, is the track and field actually participation's gone down. Now, I don't know, again, how accurate that information is, so take it with a pinch of salt. But I think it's fair to say that I don't know anybody who says, oh, this Saturday, 9 o'clock, I'm going to go off to the track and I'm going to be throwing a javelin around. I don't know anybody who does that. Might be my ignorance. I don't know whether you know anybody who does track and field as a part-time or as a hobby. Do you know anyone who does track and field?
Nope. I say people sort of tend to stick to their own sort of talents, abilities, what they do, one or the other.
So we go back, and now the reason this hit a nerve with me is because, and again, if anybody didn't know, I'm actually a qualified athletics coach. Now there is a difference. There's a big difference between the running coaches on Instagram and actually what the real running coaches out there. But my qualifications are, I've got two actually. One of them is a running coach. That's what they call a curve under EA. And that's a running coach side of things. I've actually also got an athletics coaching badge, which is throwing, jumping, and running. We had to do all three. I actually got the assistant as well. So I went through the ranks and did that. And then when you do athletics, you then split off and you specialize in one area. I specialize in endurance because obviously I'm doing endurance running. Most of the people I coach are tending to train for endurance-based events, right? So that's the history there. So I had to, make you laugh, I had to coach a javelin session. I had no clue. But it's not the point. It's, you know, when you're coaching, it's more about, right, how are we moving this session up? What are we doing here? Health and safety, you know, that sort of stuff, right? My limited skill set, we was just like, right, there's a card, you've got to pick random. Oh, you're doing javelin. So it wasn't necessarily about that sort of thing. But my point is that we had to go through all those different disciplines to get that coaching qualification, right? again, going around it long story short. But I really, really enjoyed athletics. Also, I used to coach kids. Now, in this country, under 12s, you have to have the right qualifications to coach them. Yeah, we do see that people don't have the right qualifications. You see that at some of the run clubs, social run clubs out there. Like, they've got kids going along and they probably not got the insurance, the safeguarding, all that sort of stuff in place. I did the qualification so I could coach kids. Now, we used to do, again, a blended coaching program, which was, again, running, jumping, and throwing. For example, we used to have the foam javelins. We used to have we used to use bean bags as shot put. We did have sand, rubber sand as shot puts and stuff like that. So, but we turned it so it was more fun. But because at that age, under 12, you don't know where their development is. You don't know which way they're going to go. You don't know which they're going to excel in, because obviously kids are developing at different ages. Yeah. Girls faster than boys, you know what I mean? That sort of things in terms of puberty. So the reason I'm talking about this is I've got experience in terms of athletics. I moved out of that because I focused my coaching onto adults. I was still coaching kids, but I moved out of that as well because, again, focused on in the adults where I could add more value. But what's worrying me more than anything else is that I see the huge popularity of running, but we don't see the popularity of athletics, which is a real shame because I love it. Have you ever done any like athletics?
Not since probably secondary school. Since school. Yeah.
So since school. So I've got two, well, they're getting older now, but two younger kids at school. Athletics not pushed to them, not at all, really, if I'm honest. I know some schools do. That's a good thing. Around here, where I live, athletics clubs, there's one or two, but the kids, it's not brilliant. Again, that's not to take anything, because the clubs that are there do a cracking job, right, on limited resource. But again, it's not something that's pushed massively when you compare it to other pastimes and sports. I just think at the moment, that's what I want to talk about, and I've spent 7 minutes trying to describe it. What the hell's going on with athletics? Because I don't understand it. So you've got two things really here. You've got the European Championships where British athletes did incredibly well, right? And what they achieved, like Dina and Amy and all that sort of stuff, it's just phenomenal. But how much of that really goes, and Keely and Georgia and everyone, right? I forgot if I apologize, but how much of that actually inspires that young 10, 11-year-old? Let's focus on the girls, because Amy and Georgia and all that Keely, how much of that actually inspires those kids? I know my two paid no interest in it. I was watching, Nick was watching it. No interest. It's interesting, isn't it? How, despite them absolutely destroying the European Championships and doing an unbelievable, like, remarkable stuff, not inspiring. Now, that might just be my kids, whatever, but where are you with this?
Yeah, well, as you said, the proof's in the pudding, the fact that the stadiums were empty. They were.
Oh, I've got some facts on that, by the way, the stadiums.
10,000 odd seats, wasn't it?
218,000 tickets were sold, which they apparently were really happy about. But apparently 250,000 were on sale. Yeah. 3 days, only 3 days were sold out. So most of those tickets were sold out. So that's 55% empty the rest of the time. That putting aside, I think you're going to come on to the price of going there, aren't you?
No, I was just gonna trying to work out what I'd like to know, and it's hard to know, is maybe like viewing figures on TV. Is this about the commercial element and the price, or any other factors physically being there, or is it a fact of a lack of interest in athletics? It's hard to define which one it is, if that makes sense at the moment. I'm not sure.
If you look back at 2012, which was a resounding success,
and that was exactly my point I was going to come to when we talk about peaks and things.
Unbelievable.
That was the peak for me. Probably.
Was that because that was the
athletics.
Olympics, though?
And it was in the UK. Absolutely. The Olympics is almost, they're a different entity by themselves, aren't they? So you've got to almost take that to one side. Whereas you can't take away the European Championships or the Commonwealth Games. They're still big events.
I did, yeah. Like, I can't tell you who done anything in the Commonwealth Games. And again, all I know is Eilish wasn't there. Because I follow Eilish on Instagram because she's a really nice lady.
I think the fact that the Commonwealth and the European were so close together, you had athletes that were sort of focusing on one and not the other, which doesn't help because you want to see a top pack field in all the events. But it's almost like swimming. You might not ever watch swimming, but when the Olympics comes on,
watch it.
You watch it. But if it's the Commonwealth Games with the swimming, or if it's the swimming World Championships,
yeah, but the Commonwealth Games were on TNT Sport. I don't pay for TNT Sport because Spurs have been pony for about 10 years and I refuse to pay for football anymore, right? So have I got access to TNT Sports? Nobody. Why is that not free to air? Again, I might be wrong, but I think that was on TNT.
No, but it was definitely on a paid channel. But yeah, as you said, it should have been on BBC, ITV. It should have been, the access should be there for everyone. If you're not going to make these events visible, you're not going to attract new people. It doesn't matter how commercially viable or unviable they are. You need to attract people. People need to see what's going on to be able to be attracted to it.
That's what I'm saying to you. Like Josh Kerr. We use Josh Kerr. We like Josh Kerr. Absolutely unbelievable job on the mile, right? It's funny what was happening with him and Inga Brixton, like the back and forth during the European Championships. And I think this goes on to the money side of things, which we don't really need to go into too much. But he got paid 50 grand bonus, right? For that, yeah. Now that's a piss take, but and actually, I'll tell you something funny. I saw someone, was it in the newspaper or something, that somebody wrote that is it influencers get an influencer? Oh no, not a very good runner with a massive following can earn more than Josh Kerr.
I think the actual headline was it pays more to be a crap runner. So it pays more to be a crap runner and good on socials. That's the reality of athletics. And it sums up. It's true.
That sums up. Now, don't get me wrong. Like Josh, obviously, has got deals with Brooks and stuff like that. But I think that only just probably covers him. Like I'm guessing.
Yeah, can I just jump in there? That 50 grand, just to give context on that was a bonus. That was just a bonus for an appearance or anything.
Yeah.
That was for breaking one of the oldest world records that stood in athletics. And to beat that, and to do what he'd done in that environment, then where some people might be like, 50 grand, it's a lot of money. But not when you're doing something on that level. Do you take, I know football's a different animal altogether.
Yeah.
A crap footballer can get paid 80, 90 grand a week wages.
Yeah. Also, out of that, he's got to pay a coach for this, a coach for that, a coach for that, a conditioning thing, a nutrition. He's got like a team, right? And he's got an agent. He's probably going to have to shell that. He's got a videographer because they did some great content around it. So that 50 large has gone like that, like literally like that. And then again, he's probably not doing it for the money. Let's be honest. He's doing it because he's very good at it. But he wants to make a living out of it, which is totally understandable, right? And I'll make you right on it. But the thing that worries me, and I'm going again off on a different tangent here, if you said to a 9-year-old boy at Junior Park Run, who's Josh Kerr? I'm really worried that like 90% of those kids will look at you and go, who? Even though
he would know Joe Wicks is.
Yeah, but my point, But my point is that geezer's just, like you said, just absolutely smashed one of the oldest records in the world. He's an absolute machine, devoted to his craft, yeah? Like, pushing what the human can do to its limits, right? But I guarantee you, if you went to a Junior Park Run, which is brilliant, by the way, we love Junior Park Run here. But if you went there and asked a selection of the boys, I'm using boys because of Josh, yeah, but let's ask the girls as well, be fair. I guarantee it, they'll go, who? It's true though, isn't it? And that is what the problem I have, is that he got a lot of coverage as well, to be fair, and rightly so. But it's not inspiring the kids because there's like a disconnect somewhere. And I go back to what's happening, I think, on the track and field grassroots. Now, obviously, it's always going to struggle against like football and stuff like that, yeah. But where's the money going? Where's like England Athletics get like money in, right? Well, I looked it up, something like in 24-25, I might have it wrong, but like 8 million quid in or something like that. they've obviously got to shell out half of that onto wages and salaries and things like that.
I think it's more. I'll tell you, I think it's more than half. But yeah, be nice to them.
Obviously they got their 25 grand that they got to spend at the National Running Show to have the biggest stand that we pay for as running clubs in this country, because they don't obviously invest that back into the clubs. But what are they doing actually, like, to invest? Again, it's not. I'm not digging them out. I'm asking a question because it's not clear. Like, maybe that's not their role. Maybe it's UK athletics, but we don't see, despite like a booming generation of parents that are running, that are taking their kids to junior park run, because obviously that's increasing, and I think that's amazing. But why isn't athletics being invested in?
I think a bit of it might be. I might be jumping
because there's no money in it.
Yeah, that's definitely plays a big factor. But I'm thinking as well, mum and dad could wake up Saturday morning and take their kid who has never ever run before down to a local junior park run. It's easy. Turn up there, do a 2K run. They can run with you. So you're all happy. Go and buy them a milkshake. Next week, they can't wait to do it again to get faster and faster. Can a mum and dad on a Monday night when they're at home think, do you know what? It'd be nice to get the kids down to the track this weekend to do a 100-meter session, or to go down and do some shot put, go and do some javelin.
Yeah, track and field.
The facilities and that aren't there. We spoke about this before. I remember I was in Boston, and there is more running tracks.
Investment. Goes back to investment.
Just in Boston itself, in USA, than there is in the whole of the United Kingdom. So
the thing is, right, let's go back to that point, yeah? So where's the money going? Sport England, National Lottery. Obviously, National Lottery have always supported the athletics, I believe, yeah? In terms of money.
They had to.
They had to, yeah?
I think they had to plug a big hole with the
2012 Olympic.
And the European champs. You've just gone by. Yeah, they plugged quite a bit of money into that.
I think, and the council, Birmingham Council as well, yeah? I think
that was part of it, because Birmingham Council. They chose Birmingham, which nothing against Birmingham, but the City Council.
Great place,
But then the City Council has gone broke. So, it's not the best financially viable place.
But it's a great place to put it. Great place to put it, centre of the country.
Centre of the country.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant facilities look cracking. But again, I don't know of any new tracks. I don't know of any new facilities. Where's the investment, right? Maybe people just don't. Maybe we're barking up the wrong tree. Maybe that England athletics, UK athletics, I know they're meant to be like, look after the sport. I know England athletics are only interested in building their own run club to take down other run clubs in this country, because they're just chasing money. Yeah, because that's all they're interested in. But really, what are they actually doing? Both of those, Sport England as well. I don't know. The question is, please, if anybody knows, let us know. Because when you sit back and look at what's going on, where's the investment? Like, even into these guys and girls who've done an unbelievable job at the European Championships, yeah? Although apparently it was the slowest European Championships. Didn't know that. Yeah, some of the times apparently, even though I just thought it was incredible. But where's it? How are these guys? Because what these athletes are doing, and I think they're brilliant, they're actually carving out their own careers. So, like, Georgia Hunter Bell? Apologies for my ignorance.
Yeah, correct.
She's got a YouTube channel. She's got obviously deals with what's their trade? Is it M4 or with sports shoes they get sponsored by, like with Keely and the M4 athlete? I can't remember.
Yeah, that's been Nike as well, I think.
Yeah, something like that. But again, brilliant. You know, they're finding their own deals and finding their own commercial ways. Alex Yee's done the same with his YouTube channel, and Keely's obviously done the same. And I think it's brilliant. But they're having to be entrepreneurial to go off and do that. Now, this is not anything new, by the way. This is not something that's only just happened. But my point is that running is at its highest peak. Interest in running is at its highest peak. But if you look at it, athletics seems to be the total opposite.
But again, so running is at its peak. That is running. We've spoken about it so many times. There's a big divide between competitive running and, let's call it, general running. Yeah. And the figure you banded around earlier about the 7 million people running.
Yeah.
I've got a complete shot in the dark, just being stupid. I would say maybe 2 million, 1.5 million, maybe doing it competitively at clubs, going to different clubs. I would say the other 5.5 million are your park runners, your people that want to go and do a half marathon.
Yeah,
social. Run socially. So from that perspective, I think that, again, is why maybe the tracks are not financially viable. EA, to be fair, They don't build the tracks. They don't set
No,
up.
no. Stick up for them, right? They don't.
No.
They don't control that and all that sort of stuff. And fair play to them. As I said, they must. They have to, because the government, I'm sure, tells them to chuck money to invest it. I don't know. So give them credit. I'm only like surmising,
Yeah.
But we know, obviously, that there's, whatever number of run clubs in this country that's probably paying them close to 3 or 4 million quid in terms of revenue a year. They've got money coming in from coaching and courses and stuff like that. That's probably best part of 1 million. There's money there that's coming in, but where's it go? So
they need to chase that, what we call social runner. They need to chase that sort of demographic and try to convert them into not a club runner, it's the wrong word, a competitive runner. But they need to do that at a real younger age.
Exactly. See, what they've done is they've gone for the quick buck and gone after the virtual runner by setting up their own club, and again, instead of supporting clubs like ourselves, supporting your traditional run clubs and stuff like that, they're trying to take runners away from those places by saying, oh yeah, if you run on your own, all this sort of stuff. But instead of going, let's signpost to those actual existing run clubs and help them and invest in them, because they've got people there like I'm going to say the wrong name. She Runs.
Yep.
Classic example. Plow some of that money into her, because obviously she's getting loads of women out and running. But maybe we could turn them into some form of club runners. I don't know.
Take the example, She Runs. I think they charge something like 5 or 6 quid per session.
Yeah, we're free.
Per lady. So you're talking about they're doing it as a business. They're generating. It's the late. It's really horrible to don't even know who she is, but the person in charge of She Runs, are they fussed if one of their runners takes this on to a different level and goes for England trials, or are they just fussed that they get loads of people turning up week after week, creating a good environment and making money? I think that's the problem.
But my point is that those people, mind you, She Runs is probably the worst example we could have used because of the demographic. But they will have a part of this. But let's say that parent in there who is a keen runner now, because she's attended FORDY runs, She Runs, I don't know, whatever. Then decide to take their kid into it because it's their pastime. But is there an avenue there to take them into athletics?
There is, but the avenue there may be an avenue, but is there appetite?
Barriers?
Is there barriers? Is there an appetite from the kid? But I tell you what, one thing that is good, and the names you mentioned, we could have went for names like, I don't know, Ingebrigtsen and these sort of people. These are legendary people, but your Keely Hodgson, your Josh Kerrs, your Georgia Bells, these people they're becoming popular figures. In a way, you could say we can do the whole circle in reverse. They've become influencers themselves. This is good for that.
Keely, now, I would say, is one of the, if not the top woman influencer in running.
Yeah.
If you think about it, like, I don't know what her following is. Same with Eilish. In terms of their influence, I mean, Keely's brilliant at that. Her socials are unbelievable. And Georgia as well. Like, I don't know what Amy, her stuff's like, but Josh Kerr's really good. They become influencers.
Yeah.
But, take it back a step. There was still... Now, hang on. Are the empty seats, though, actually a byproduct? Let's get this into perspective. Were the empty seats a byproduct of those greedy sods trying to recoup their money, and they priced it and got it totally wrong?
100%. Ticket price, ancillaries, a bottle of water was £4. You couldn't park anywhere near the stadium. You had to do park and ride, and that cost you £21.50. Price of the ticket, 75, 85 quid.
Absolutely pissed out. Whoever done that should be shot. I'm not being funny. That's a bit strong, but
because they're taking risks with the sport of athletic, as you said, because they've got to put people off.
Whoever set those prices, like, they need to sit down and like, honestly, what was you thinking? I'm sure it was an accountant setting, and you're an accountant, so right. But I'm sure it was an accountant. No, I'm sure it was an accountant setting the prices based on a P&L, right? Rather than let's price this so we can get people in and let's price this so we can get the British public to see top class athletics, which was what was on display. It was priced to make money and recoup some of the money back. Yeah. So again, that person was looking at it purely on the bottom line, not about numbers through the door. I think, and maybe actually I've got this totally wrong. Maybe I've got this totally wrong. Maybe athletics is thriving in terms of appetite, but the athletics that we saw was so badly priced that it didn't get a chance. Maybe, bruv, listen, they might have sold it out for all those times. If they'd done, not free, Christ's sake, but if they priced it more sensible, kids were off and they'd done a better deal, maybe we would have seen it fuller. Maybe we're talking absolute bollocks in this episode and athletic, but you can see it. To be fair, you can see it. I think going back to, I don't think we're on the wrong tangent here. I do think athletics is struggling despite, and that's the point of the show. I do think athletics is struggling versus, what's it called? Versus running. I think that's what I'm trying. So hang on. Right. England Athletics registered athletes, 172,000 in 2018. In 25-26, this is affiliated, registered athletes, sorry, 181,000. So that's up just 5.3%. So that tells you, that doesn't go in line with the boom of running. That tells you that people aren't registering as England Athletics people, right? That tells you that I would say that it's what we expect, which is the Gen Z, the Strava runner who's taken up running, yeah? Affiliated clubs up 36%, but England Athletics admits 90% of new club affiliations are running clubs, not track and field clubs. Competitive track and field participants, age 11 plus, was 51,868 in 2018. That's down 2% since 2016. And that's obviously before COVID. So again, not sure that's a right number, but I think even back then it shows you that 51,000 people, competitive track and field. That's, what you were saying about the number of actual people who are competitive on track and field, that is. I think this is a great stat. Parkrun global registrations in 2019, 6.3 million. In 2025, 11 million plus. It's up 75%.
Incredible.
Junior parkrun, 400 plus UK events. 1 million plus junior parkruns completed in just 12 months. According to this, again, right, take all of these numbers, please, with a pinch of salt. Okay. But that was just in 12 months, 24-25. 1 million junior parkruns completed. Parkrun's doing an incredible job in this country of getting young kids running. It's just a real shame that they're not getting.
Again, though, they're funneling kids into running 2K, 5K on a road or on trail. It's a different avenue to funneling a child into doing a 400-meter track session, 100 meters. Where's the speed and the pace coming from to be able to run 100 meters? As you said, long jump, triple jump, discus, hammer.
Yeah, again, because some of those kids, right, who are doing really well at junior parkrun, but you might find they might really excel at jumping. Yeah, because again, that's what I was saying to you when that's important that what we go through in terms of our coaching badges. Yeah, we totally understand how the kids develop differently and excel in different areas. But if you're not giving them the opportunity to try different things, how do you know? Going on to the Birmingham 2026 European Championships, apparently, I don't know whether this is right, but total budget was 13.7 million. Shortfall after council's effective bankruptcy, which what you said was 2.2 million. National Lottery put in over 3 million. And the Western Midlands Combined Authority topped up at 600,000. So they're basically pretty much at a loss anyway.
Oh,
so it just seems nuts. There's something not right here with athletics in this country. And I don't know what it is.
Yeah, because as you said, I think the cap. If I go back to when I was growing up, my dad was really into athletics, and Seb Coe, Steve Cram, Steve Avett, watching all these things and lived for Christie in the late 80s and 90s, loved it all. It's brilliant. There's been a bit of a lull, but I'm hopeful for the future with your Keeleys, with your Josh Kerrs, because they've had to, like exactly what you said, you were spot on. They've had to divert, and they've had to bring a different element to themselves.
They're making it cool.
They're making athletics cool. And this is what we need to get kids into. Kids that are into running now, they need to, maybe mum and dad needs to say, look at Keely, do you know what she can do a park running? Watch her on this track. They might be like, wow.
Okay, right. So I'll tell you what then, for the next 5 minutes, what we call it, I don't know whether we've actually, I can't remember what we've spoken about tonight. I think I'm well wrong on some stuff, by the way. But anyway, imagine we are Sebco and we've got total carte blanche how to fix UK athletics, how to get kids into it, how to get people interested, not interested in terms of like watching on TV and stuff. I do think, by the way, that if that Commonwealth Games was only on TNT, again, whoever made that decision, I appreciate why they did it, because they were the highest bidder and they've got to take the money. But that should be free to air. If they, it's like they're almost putting barriers in the way of like people doing athletics, which I don't understand. Like, why would you be doing that? But let's try and fix it. So, like you just said, I think make it cool, like push the influencers, which are basically your modern day athletes. The modern day athletes in this country have to become influencers to get anywhere. So I think that would then help them get brand deals like Keely's just done with Nike, a Nike collection. Yeah. Josh obviously has got his Brooks thing. I don't see anybody wearing the Brooks stuff that Josh is doing. Although, you know, the stuff he wears is really cool and fair play to Brooks. But do you think Josh wearing Brooks is inspiring people to wear Brooks shoes? I don't know.
No, but it's bringing awareness about the brand.
Again, right? The money's well spent, isn't it? Although they don't have a problem, let's be honest, they sponsor Park Run. But does athletics, here's the thing, and this is what I think they need to do, and this is what I want to ask you. I think what what athletics needs to do is go with the Hyrox model. I think they need to bring athletics indoors, and make it like a series of challenges to make it interesting. So you do, I don't know, you have to do a shot put, then you have to do a javelin, then you have to do a long jump, then you have to do a triple jump, then you have to do a high jump, and then you do a walking race, and then you've got to do 100 meters, you know, like a heptathlon, basically an indoor heptathlon. And they put it indoors, prize money, get Puma to sponsor it. You're going to have to train like a madman to do all that sort of stuff, to be good at multi-discipline. And do something along that sort of lines. I wonder if that would like inspire people, or at least inspire kids.
I think absolutely, no doubt. Just mixing it up, trying something different. But I've got a couple of solutions that I think would help. One of them was so straightforward and so simple. I don't know why people don't think about it. They knew what seats were sold for the European Championships, and they knew maybe 2 days before that there was the stadium tonight is going to be 6,000 shy. Why not go to local schools and say, we've got 6,000 tickets here. Every single school in Birmingham, parents and kids, bring your kids, it's free. They're either going to be empty and no atmosphere in the stadium, or you're going to bring people there with an atmosphere and get kids there thinking, this is cool.
I don't disagree, but in their defence, schools broken up, summer holidays.
Well, but then they've got to think outside the box, think youth clubs, think there's loads of things, think workplaces, anything.
They only need to do one post on social media, right? They can connect. I don't know how many followers they've got, but they do one post and say, Thursday night, kids go free, right? Or whatever. Yeah. And they put that out. Everyone's going to share it like madmen. And Bosh, as you say, then the kids are going to sit there and see our unbelievable athletes that were on display at the European Championship. And then it goes back to my point. On Sunday at Junior Park Run, if you did ask that kid, he'd go, or she would go, oh yeah, I know Dina Asher-Smith. Yeah, she was the lady who won that gold medal and because they'd seen it. And then their mate might have heard about it. Oh, what did you do at the weekend? Oh, we went to see the athletics. It was unbelievable. I want to try this.
Correct. Or just say, I get your point about the school. So go out there and say, do you know what? NHS workers, every NHS worker, you can have one ticket and you can bring one kid with you. You can bring a kid with you. NHS worker, okay, it's free of charge. You get yourself done, and they're going to make money from them. That NHS worker, and they're going to make money from. They're going to buy a bottle of water. They're going to buy a Coke. They're going to buy the kids some popcorn. Again, it's getting that stadium feel. It's good for the athletes. It's good for the spectators.
With kids, that's the thing with kids, because otherwise we are slowly but surely going to run out of top line top level athletes in this country because the system, the infrastructure, the investment's not in place, right? I believe, Ken. I could be totally wrong on all of this, and I hold my hand up and apologise if I've
No,
spoken
I
out of
think
line.
you're right. I think you're right.
But it's perception, and this is what I'm trying to put across here: is that I'm a miserable sod, but in terms of perception, that's what I'm getting from athletics at the moment, and this is from someone who loves it dearly, and actually went and got qualifications in terms of athletes, and has coached kids in terms of athletics, track and field, running, jumping, and throwing. Yeah, I've done that. I've had 50 kids all lined up throwing foam things, discus, and shot put, and they absolutely loved it. They loved the weeks that we did the throwing stuff. Honestly, you can ask the guys who were there helping me out. Yeah, they absolutely loved it when you gave them the opportunity to do it. We did some running with them as well. But how are you going to find the next level of athletes? How are you going to get all that if you ain't investing in it? If you ain't turning around and going, look, you're our biggest star is a couple of million quid from whatever. Pay whatever you need. But they're living on the breadline. They're having to go off and do other stuff. Actually, to be fair, I've got totally raft there. But in a good way, the current world situation where it is in terms of social media, which we hate social media most of the time, but actually, to be fair, these guys and girls are actually benefiting from that, the state of where we are in the world, because they're able to use it as a vehicle to create income for them, and fair play to them for doing that. I think, like you said, they're now influencers. Yeah, Keely's, as I said, I think arguably the biggest running influencer for females, and she inspires me. She influences me, because so it's not just girls that she's influencing, but I go back to my point now. My little Daisy, who's 11 years old, we sat there, me and Nick, and watched it. She weren't that bothered.
No. I'd say why don't EA could really as well? They could say we're going to put some of that fund in every single athletics track in the United Kingdom, all 6 of them. No, I'm exaggerating, but every single athletics track in the United Kingdom between 6 and 7 p.m. That is what it's just for kids. We're sorry to the run clubs. You can come afterwards. England Athletics are going to pay the athletics tracks, all the council, whoever owns it, so there's no funding shortfall there. And they say 6 to 7. Instead of having youth clubs, everyone keeps saying the kids can't go to youth clubs. They've closed them down. Let's go to the athletics track instead.
Yeah, but I'll be honest.
It's the fastest to go around that loop.
I'll be honest with you. I think the athletics clubs, the traditional clubs that are out there, I think they'd love that, and they'd probably take that on themselves. Brilliant. because they've got. Don't forget again, they've got the coaching system in place. So I go back to my point. You need to be an athletics coach or assistant. You need to be an assistant athletics coach with an athletics coach within the England athletics framework, to be able to take kids. Okay, because not only in terms of what you've done and the qualifications, health and safety, blah 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 blah, but the DBS, the safeguarding, and all that sort of stuff, which is absolute paramount. I saw, and I nearly screamed blue murder the other day. There was a run club on social media, one of these ones that's popping up, making it fashionable, whatever. Geezer said to him, I'm not going to name him for Christ's sake because it's not right, but the geezer said, said, can I bring my kid along? And the geezer wrote, yeah, sure, as long as it's supervised. Well, hang on a minute. Does that run club have the necessary safeguarding in place for that child to attend? Does it have the correct insurance in place? Are the run leaders DBS checked? So if not, that child is at risk. Even if it's with its parent, that's at risk, because you don't know who else is coming to that social run group. Yeah, social run group. And they were so flippant, and they turned around and said, oh yeah, just bring them along as long as you've got a parent there. I saw it. There's one near here that were allowing kids to run. It was at night time, and they were allowing kids to take part. I guarantee you, none of them have done the safeguarding, are up to speed with safeguarding, let alone first aid, DBS checks, and all that sort of stuff to look after those kids, because there's legal requirements for kids, for juniors. And yeah, they could be with a parent, but it's not the parent that you have to worry about. It's the other people that are there. You don't know them. So where's the safety being taken? And this is, again, which drives me up the wall. the regulators in this country, which is meant to be, well, I don't think there is one, but let's say the guardians of the sport, UK Athletics, England Athletics, Sport England, and ultimately the government, the sport minister is a joke. But what are they doing with these run clubs to actually police them, to make sure that these things are in place, that there is insurance in place, that there is safeguarding being done? Because if kids are turning up to this stuff, they're at risk. Again, I've gone off on a total one, but it just reminded me of a comment I saw, and I was like, I can't believe you just wrote that, mate. Like, it's crazy. On the plus side, always trying to find the positive, that kid's going to a running club and going to be doing running. And hopefully, that's good for him, her, and, hopefully inspires them to do, that going forward. So that's a positive, right? So, and again, let's hope that, those sort of things are in check. But you're absolutely right. Totally gone off. This is your fault. But I think, make a point of make it free at some point. The athletics clubs will embrace that because they're going to get people along to their clubs, right? Yeah, they've got to get free, but if it's getting subsidised by whoever, who's chucking them money, then they're going to get newer members into their club, which, again, this is what I want. I want, as somebody who's active in the running community, I want traditional run clubs to thrive because I just think they're so important to the future of the sport. When running stops being popular, when it's not being fashionable on social media and all this sort of stuff, those athletics clubs are still going to be there, and they're still going to be providing a place within the local communities for runners and hopefully athletes, track and field, to go and take part in that sort of stuff. But they need help. But what are they getting from EA, UKA, and Sporting? Zero. Like zero. Yeah, you can apply for some funding if you want, but like, why are they wasting their money setting up their own run club and not going that? However much, I'd love to know how much that costs, but however much they're spending on Facebook ads, give that money to like athletic clubs to get kids along instead of spending like 25 grand or however much it costs to have that massive stand at the National Running Show and whatnot. You could argue, well, they need to be there, fair enough, but why not take that money and go, look, Fulham Run Club, I don't know, this and this athletics club, take this money, this 25 grand, and spend that on advertising, getting kids along to your running club, or invest in that way. That would be better. That would make more sense, right? To me.
Yeah. No, as you said, ultimately, the more people they get into money, the more they're going to get investment into their system anyway. So it's almost counterproductive to, they've gone the reversal way. It doesn't work. They're best off. As you said, invest in the clubs and let the clubs get the people affiliated to them. Because so the club's introducing people to England athletics rather than England athletics bypassing the club and going out there.
This is where it's madness, and this is where it's just and it's an unjustifiable waste of money. Really.
But coming back to what the topic's all about, is that the reason that you feel athletics is
to stick up for England athletics? That's not their fault. Right. They're only doing what they think's right. So again, to be completely both sides, that's not their fault. They think that's the way to go. We all make decisions and people agree and disagree with it. That's totally fair enough. I think there is just a real, hang on, I just moved myself. There's a real lack of, investment. I think we all know that anyway, but there's a lack of sort of invention, solutions, that sort of stuff to get people interested in athletics. Like if I said to you, there's a have a go at throwing and jumping down your local track on, I think, would you go and have a go? I think, but let's right, we'll end it there because otherwise we're going to go on because we've got another one to record. But if I said if I came to you run a social run group, obviously you're qualified, insured, safeguarding, DBS, all done properly, right? If I said to you, Hayden, your local running track, your local athletics track, has put a promotion out and said, come along Thursday evening, 7:00. We've got a load of kit you can have a go at and have some fun with for an hour. It's going to cost you, I don't know, £5 a head, whatever, because obviously they've got to cover their costs, lights and stuff. Would you jump at the chance, or would you go, actually, my guy's probably not bothered?
two things: a jump at the chance, and secondly, the proof's in the pudding. Because even though we have, as a club, done hundreds and hundreds of big events all over the world, Chicago, everywhere, they've been awesome. One of the most enjoyed by people that keeps coming up year after year was a couple of years ago. You hired out that track, and we've done the sports day, and we've done the different events. Yeah,
I hired, a whole track. I hired the Lee Valley Athletics track, and with the help of our amazing run leaders, satellite leaders, and people like that, we put on, because we used the kids' equipment that we had. So we had the foam javelins and stuff like that. We took over the track, and we could have done it. We could have probably filled it 3-4 times over, because I think we charged a $5, wasn't it?
Just to cover the track, wasn't it? That's all it was.
It didn't cover the track, because as I said, I paid for it, but that's fine. Again, I couldn't care less. But the point is that it was such an enjoyable,
it's different
experience, and so many people wanted to take part. And these are demographic of I've got to be a bit, but let's say 38 to 55. I know it's wide, but that's probably where mixture of men and women. They all came, they all had a go, they all loved it.
Correct.
And when they're sitting down and watching the TV, they go, I had a go at that, and I was useless. But they say it with a smile on their face, and they had a go. What in this country is taking place where our generation, which probably not that fussed about, can go and have a go at stuff, but more importantly, I know the kids could do it at school, but like outside of that, where can they go and have a go? I think ultimately that's our problem. And
facilities.
Yeah, the investment. But again, we're just giving you around it. Right, that's it. I don't know whether this is. We're probably going to get a lot of angry emails
from EA.
But I think we've been fair now. I think we stuck up for them. I think we stuck up for them as well. As I said, they're doing stuff that they believe's right. So fair play to them, right? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, they're the ones who've got to suck it up. They're the ones who've got to look at their P&L at the end of the year. They've got to look at their numbers. And yeah, they're helped because of running so popular at the moment. And they're milking it for every pound they can get. Fair play to them. Why wouldn't you? They're doing it in my opinion. But what do I know? I think they're doing it the totally wrong way. They should be investing in the clubs instead of trying to take runners away from the clubs. But that's only my opinion. That doesn't mean anything. Okay, right. As always, this was an uncensored podcast, okay? The opinions here are not meant to cause distress. We should have put this at the front end. It's just us talking about it, okay? So if you've been offended by anything, you feel really strongly about it, we apologize. Again, it's only our opinions, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. If any of the numbers that I've read out are wrong, I hold my hands up. I just got them online. Don't take the numbers as gospel. Please don't take the numbers as gospel, okay? Just make sure we don't get sued. We've taken them from the internet, different sources, all right? So again, take everything in terms of numbers that we've said with a pinch of salt. But hopefully you at some point through this episode have formed some sort of opinion, agreed, disagreed, whatever it is, and enjoyed the conversation that we've had. We're not going to need a lay down before we do the next one. Okay, team. Thanks very much for listening. We will be back next Friday with another episode of Hayden Hates England Athletics. And we'll see. It's been so long. I've not even done it with the outro. It's here. Right. See you later, everybody. Bye-bye.